Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome back to another Rhino tutorial. Today we're going to be going over taking your 6-inch cube sections that you guys should have all drawn. Hide that. And we're going to scale them up and put them onto the template that you are provided. So right now I have two Rhino files open, one here, which should look pretty similar to you guys, and this is the section cuts I have drawn of my cube. My cube's a little wacky, it's a little weird, but I think it should suffice for this video. But anyways, I've gone ahead and labeled the top view, the front view, and the side. It's sort of based off of the orientations I wanted to use, and this will become important in the next step. But briefly, let's walk through both files. So open this up. This is going to be the template that we're working with. There are some differences between the file that you were using before. So if we go ahead and type in options, or we can do document properties if we're on the Mac, click units, we're going to see that we are in model units of feet, which is different than the previous file. If we open up options again, click on units, and you'll see we're in inches. So that's not too big of a problem, but you'll see what happens when we start to copy it over. Something else to note when we copy between two different Rhino files, Rhino is pretty good at copying in place. So basically what that means is, or actually, might as well just go ahead and show you. So I'm going to select everything that I want to copy, and I'm going to go ahead and group these together. So type group, spacebar. Now these are all in one. I'm going to go ahead and do Control C. If you're on a Mac, it's Command C. And then I'm going to go over into my other file, and I'm going to go Control V. As you can see, we have these really tiny little drawings that I've imported in. If we go ahead and see how large they are, they should be 6 inches. Yep, perfect. Something I've done as well, which I think I should talk about, is I have created 6x6-inch bounding boxes around each of my drawings that I've done. This will help immensely with the scaling we are about to do. Okay, so we are pretty much done with this file. I'm going to go ahead, minimize it for now. All right, now we're going to deal with this. Let's just turn that back on. Okay, right now I have my section cuts with a hatch on them, just because when drawing in the model space, we don't see line weights. So sometimes it can become tough to discern between what you're cutting through and what you're not. So I like to hatch, and many times I keep the hatch for the final drawing. Sometimes I don't, but that's something that you all will talk to your studio professors about and do some experimentation. So now to the fun part, to scaling. I'm going to do ZE, shows zoom extents. You can see we're sort of working with 3 separate orthographic drawings. 2 sections, northwest facing section and a southwest facing section, as well as a single plan. And for our purposes, we are going to want to scale each of these objects to be 30 feet. And luckily for us, this is very, very easy. So we are going to select our objects. They're still grouped, as you can see. That's fine for now. It's actually easier. But we're going to select all objects, and we are going to type scale, and it's going to ask for a base point. I'm going to choose here, this corner of the first box. The second point is going to be the other edge of the box. And then it's going to ask, it's basically asking for us to define a line and then choose the size of the line that wants to be. So we've defined we want to scale from the bottom part of our square, and we want the bottom part of our square to be 30 feet. So I'm just going to type 30. And I'm going to do, perfect. We have a little bit of overlap. So this is where having things grouped is very important. So as you can see now, we have this jumbled mess. But since we're grouped, I can just select the text that I've done to help myself and slide this down like so. Okay, I'm now going to go ahead and ungroup these objects like so. I am also going to go ahead and select my text, and I need this to be infinitely smaller. So let's just try something like 0.5, 1. Okay, perfect. And this text here, this is just for my own well-being, so I can see what's going on with everything. Okay, so we have our drawings scaled, and now it's time to start thinking about overlaying them on top of our site context. Something I'm going to recommend that everyone does is go ahead and grab all of these drawings. So I'm dragging left to right, making sure I encompass every piece of the drawing. And then I'm going to type in lock. So what lock does, it's very similar to the layer lock button. However, it operates independently of it. So as you can see, I can't grab it, can't do anything, can't touch it. Likewise, let's see, no, we have some cut. You can see that this will still operate in the same way. So if I turn off the light, if I turn off the layer and an object is locked with that layer, it still will disappear. But basically, for our purposes, we just want to be able to put these drawings on top and not have any interaction with the drawing below, because once that starts to happen, then it gets a little tricky, but we're going to get there in due time. So we need to cut our sections in half for the southwest facing section and the northwest facing section. But for the plan, we can leave it as it is. So for starters, I'm going to take my plan. I am going to select it at the midpoint here of my bounding box, and I'm going to place it on the midpoint here, my bounding box. And that is pretty much my base where we can start. And with this on top now, we are able to start trimming the lines below and adjusting our, I guess, cube and object to kind of fit the needs that we wanted to do. For now, I am not going to go ahead and trim that because that is the fun part, and that is for you guys to do, to start designing and fitting your objects to the piece. But I am going to go ahead and group this just for ease. So there we go, plan done. Now we have two other drawings to worry about, and this is a little bit trickier, but we'll work through it. So a couple things happening. We need to split these in half. For my purposes, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line here from the midpoint, and I'm going to take it across like so. It might also be worth, and I'm going to do it right now, to make a copy of everything. So I'm going to drag left to right, excluding this line here, and I'm going to type the copy command, grab this here, and I'm going to pull this over. While we're doing that, I think it's worth copying your plan as well, just so that we have backups of everything. And these will live over here and won't be touched, but can be referenced if we need them again. Okay, back to business. So we are going to be cutting these in half. For the purposes of this video and keeping it straightforward, I'm going to go from the midpoint and pull across. And this is very easy here. We're going to go trim. And I am just going to drag everything below, like so. Rhino's gonna think, get mad at me, didn't. Okay, we're gonna trim that. You're gonna see some of these lines don't touch, which is okay. So now that all of those are gone, I get to come in here and clean up all of the lines that we're not touching before. So that looks good. I'm gonna go ahead, press delete. Just final cleanups, delete, move this text back up just so everything's under control a bit here. Okay, very cool. So now it's relatively straightforward. Once again, we don't need this line anymore, but I am gonna come in here. I'm gonna start with my front. So the front in this object is going to be right here where my mouse is pointing. So therefore, we're going to correlate that with the northwest facing facade. I'm sorry, northwest facing section. So I'm going to use the move tool. I'm going to pull it up to here. And I am going to then switch the point in which I'm grabbing from to our midpoint. And I'm going to align that there. I don't think, there's the midpoint. Okay. So now you can see we have the bounding box centered on the two walls we are cutting through. Select everything again. I'm going to quickly group it just for ease of use. And I am going to now move this up right to here. And there we go. We have it overlaid now. You can see that this doesn't look like a very human scale space, and I would agree with that. But that is where the fun comes in, and you get to design it to be a human scale space. But for now, we're just laying the groundwork. Alrighty, and I think you can imagine what's going to happen with this guy over here. But I'm going to move. I'm going to take it from the midpoint. I'm going to overlay it onto the midpoint, and here we can have a little bit more authority on how this exactly overlays. Oh, perfect, actually. Never mind. Fits perfectly. Alrighty, and then once again, I'm going to move. I'm going to pull this up to the edge here, and you'll see there's things overlapping and awkward conditions, but as I previously said, this is the fun job for you all to come in and design the space. A couple of quick pointers. I'm going to go ahead and group these again. You can see down here we have some entourage and people aligned in here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this fella right here, and I am going to copy him into the drawing. So once this guy's in here, we can start to see how the spaces fit and react to like the human scale. So this space here, this sort of aperture that's opening up, someone can obviously fit in there, but however, move them over a little bit, that's not so good. So this is where you guys get to make decisions on how you want to operate this and change it so that this starts to become an occupiable space. I think that might be it for this video. I'm going to do another video for you guys that starts to show through maybe some tricks and tips to helping clean up the drawings. But for now, this should be more than enough to get you started. Have fun with it and good luck. And if anybody has questions, there will still be office hours over the long weekend. So come find us on either Saturday or Sunday and be more than happy to help you out. Take care.